Have you ever sat down to work on something important, and then somehow ended up checking your phone, answering random messages, opening 5 tabs, watching one quick video, and suddenly wondering where the last hour of your life went? You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are living in a world designed to steal your attention. And Daniel Goleman's book Focus makes one thing very clear. In the modern world, attention is no longer just a productivity skill. It is a survival skill. Because what you focus on shapes what you notice. What you notice shapes what you think about. What you think about shapes what you do. And what you do, repeated over time, becomes your life. That is the quiet power of focus. Most people think focus simply means concentrating harder. But Goleman goes much deeper. He argues that focus is not just about finishing tasks faster or resisting your phone for 30 minutes. Real focus has 3 dimensions. 1. Inner focus. This is your ability to understand yourself, your emotions, values, impulses, and goals. 2. Other focus. This is your ability to tune into other people, their feelings, needs, signals, and perspectives. 3. Outer focus. This is your ability to understand the bigger systems around you, trends, consequences, patterns, and long-term impact. According to Goleman, a truly successful life requires all 3. If you only have inner focus, you may understand yourself, but fail to connect with others. If you only have other focus, you may please everyone, but lose your own direction. If you only have outer focus, you may see big opportunities, but lack the emotional intelligence to lead people toward them. The best leaders, creators, parents, entrepreneurs, and high performers are not just people who work hard. They are people who know where to place their attention and where not to. And that is the real lesson of focus. Your attention is one of the most valuable things you own. Why focus matters more than ever. Goleman begins with a simple but powerful idea. Attention is the foundation of almost everything we do well. We need focus to learn. We need focus to remember. We need focus to understand what we feel. We need focus to read other people. We need focus to make good decisions. We need focus to stay calm under pressure. We need focus to build anything meaningful. Without focus, even intelligence becomes scattered. Imagine a brilliant person who cannot sit still long enough to finish a project, or a talented leader who cannot listen deeply to the people around them, or a business owner who is so busy chasing urgent tasks that they never see the long-term changes happening in their market. In each case, the problem is not talent. The problem is attention. Goleman points out that modern technology has made this challenge much harder. We live inside a constant stream of messages, notifications, alerts, feeds, headlines, comments, and updates. Every app wants a tiny piece of your mind. And when enough tiny pieces are taken, you no longer feel like you own your attention. This is why the famous economist Herbert Simon said, "A wealth of information creates a poverty of attention." That line captures the modern problem perfectly. We have more information than ever, but less mental space to process it. We have more connection than ever, but less presence. We have more tools than ever, but often less clarity. The result is a strange kind of exhaustion. You may be busy all day, but still feel like you did not move forward. You may consume endless content, but feel less wise. You may talk to many people, but feel less connected. Goleman's warning is simple. If we do not train our attention, the world will train it for us. And the world does not always train it in our favor. The 2 minds, bottom-up and top-down thinking. To understand focus, Goleman explains that our mind works in 2 major ways: bottom-up and top-down. Bottom-up thinking is fast, automatic, and emotional. This is the part of the mind that reacts before you even realize what is happening. It notices danger. It jumps toward pleasure. It gets pulled by loud sounds, bright screens, dramatic headlines, and emotional triggers. It is impulsive, instinctive, and always scanning the environment. Your bottom-up mind is why you check your phone after hearing one small notification. It is why a rude message can ruin your mood before you have even thought about it. It is why anxiety can hijack your brain during a test, a presentation, or an important conversation. This system is not bad. In fact, it helps you survive. It notices patterns quickly. It protects you from danger. It can even help with creativity by making unexpected connections. But if it runs your life completely, you become reactive. You follow whatever is loudest, easiest, or most emotionally charged. Top-down thinking is deliberate, controlled, and intentional. This is the part of the mind that helps you choose. It allows you to pause. It helps you plan. It helps you control impulses. It helps you learn difficult things. It helps you stay with a goal even when distractions appear. Top-down attention is what you use when you say, "Not now." Let me think. This matters more. I will stay with this task. I feel angry, but I do not need to react immediately. In other words, bottom-up thinking pulls your attention. Top-down thinking directs your attention. And focus is the skill of training your top-down mind so it can guide your life instead of letting every impulse, fear, notification, or temptation take the steering wheel. Focus is like a muscle. One of the most practical ideas in the book is that attention works like a muscle. If you never train it, it gets weak. If you constantly overload it, it gets tired. If you practice using it deliberately, it gets stronger. This means focus is not just something you either have or do not have. It is something you can build. Every time you bring your mind back to one task, you are training focus. Every time you pause before reacting emotionally, you are training focus. Every time you listen deeply instead of waiting to talk, you are training focus. Every time you choose long-term value over short-term distraction, you are training focus. The problem is that most people accidentally train the opposite. They train distraction by switching tasks every few minutes. They train impatience by consuming only short, fast content. They train emotional reactivity by responding instantly to every trigger. They train shallow thinking by never giving their mind enough silence to go deep. So the question is not, do I have focus? The better question is, what kind of attention am I practicing every day? Because whatever you practice becomes your default. Inner focus, understanding yourself. The first major form of focus is inner focus. Inner focus is self-awareness. It is the ability to notice what is happening inside you, your emotions, thoughts, impulses, values, and deeper motivations. This matters because if you cannot understand yourself, you cannot guide yourself. You may think you are making logical decisions when really you are being driven by fear. You may think you want success when really you want approval. You may think you are tired when actually you are avoiding something uncomfortable. You may think you are angry at someone else when actually your ego feels threatened. Inner focus gives you the space to see yourself clearly. Goleman connects this to metacognition, which means thinking about your own thinking. It is the ability to step back and ask, why am I reacting this way? Is this thought useful? What am I avoiding? What do I actually want here? Is this decision aligned with my values? He also discusses meta-emotion, which means being aware of your emotions and managing them wisely. This does not mean suppressing your feelings. It means noticing them without becoming controlled by them. For example, anxiety before an exam or presentation can destroy performance if you identify with it completely. But if you can pause, breathe, and say, this is anxiety. It is uncomfortable, but I can still act. You regain power. That tiny gap between feeling and reaction is where self-control lives. And self-control is one of the biggest predictors of long-term success. The marshmallow lesson. Attention creates self-control. One of the most famous examples connected to self-control is the marshmallow experiment. Children were given a choice. Eat one marshmallow now or wait and receive two later. The children who were able to wait did not simply have stronger willpower in a magical way. Many of them used attention strategies. They looked away. They distracted themselves. They sang songs. They changed what they focused on. That is a huge insight. Self-control is not only about forcing yourself to resist temptation. It is about managing your attention. If you stare at the marshmallow wins. The same applies to modern life. If your phone is beside you while you work, part of your brain is still negotiating with it. If junk content is one click away, your attention has to keep fighting. If your environment is full of triggers, your willpower gets drained. So one of the smartest ways to improve discipline is not to try harder. It is to design your environment so your attention has fewer battles to fight. Put the phone away, remove unnecessary tabs, make the important task visible. Make the distracting habit inconvenient. Protect your best mental hours. A focused life is not built by heroic willpower alone. It is built by better attention design. Very lazy capybara wisdom. Do not wrestle the crocodile if you can simply sit on a different riverbank. Focus and excellence. Why practice must be deliberate. Goleman also connects focus to mastery. Many people have heard of the 10,000-hour rule, the idea that it takes 10,000 hours of practice to become world-class at something. But the deeper truth is that not all practice is equal. You can repeat something for years and still remain average if you are not paying attention. Real improvement requires deliberate practice. Deliberate practice means you focus on what is not working. You notice mistakes. You get feedback. You adjust. You repeat. You improve the weak point instead of just doing what feels comfortable. That requires inner focus. A musician must hear where the timing is off. An athlete must feel where the movement breaks down. A writer must notice where the sentence loses energy. A business owner must admit which strategy is not working. A creator must study why viewers leave, not just celebrate views. This is uncomfortable because deliberate practice exposes flaws. But that is exactly why it works. You cannot improve what you refuse to notice. Focus turns experience into learning. Without focus, experience is just repetition. Flow, the sweet spot between challenge and skill. Another powerful idea in focus is the state of flow. Flow is that beautiful state where you become fully absorbed in what you are doing. Time feels different. Your sense of self quiets down. The work becomes challenging but enjoyable. You are not forcing yourself to concentrate. You are naturally pulled into the task. Goleman explains that flow often happens when the challenge is just right. If something is too easy, you get bored. If something is too hard, you get anxious. But when the task slightly stretches your ability, your attention wakes up. This is important because many people try to focus on tasks that are either too vague or too overwhelming. Work on my business is vague. Write one strong opening paragraph for this video script is focused. Get healthy is vague. Walk for 20 minutes after lunch is focused. Learn marketing is vague. Study 3 high-retention YouTube intros and write down the pattern is focused. Flow loves clarity. So if you want more focus, make the next action specific. Make the challenge visible. Give your brain something concrete to engage with. Wandering is not always the enemy. One of the most refreshing parts of Goleman's message is that he does not treat mind wandering as completely bad. Yes, distraction can destroy productivity, but a wandering mind also plays an important role in creativity. When your mind drifts, it can connect ideas in unusual ways. It can process unresolved problems. It can produce insights that do not appear when you are forcing your attention too tightly. This is why good ideas often arrive in the shower, during a walk, while driving, or when you are doing something simple and repetitive. The lesson is not, never let your mind wander. The lesson is to use both modes wisely. Use focused attention when you need execution, learning, listening, or deep work. Use open awareness when you need creativity, reflection, and fresh connections. In practical terms, this means your brain needs both deep work and empty space. If every quiet moment is filled with scrolling, your mind never gets room to digest life. If every problem is attacked with force, you may miss the softer insight waiting underneath. Sometimes the smartest move is to focus intensely. Sometimes the smartest move is to take a walk and let the capybara brain float gently downstream. Other focus. Reading people more deeply. The second major form of focus is other focus. This is the attention we give to other people. It includes empathy, listening, emotional sensitivity, and the ability to read nonverbal signals. It is what allows us to sense when someone is uncomfortable, excited, confused, guarded, or quietly asking for support. Goleman explains that relationships depend heavily on attention. You cannot truly listen while half reading your phone. You cannot understand someone if you only wait for your turn to speak. You cannot lead people if you do not notice what they are feeling. You cannot build trust without presence. Other focus is not just being nice, it is a real form of intelligence. Goleman describes different kinds of empathy. Emotional empathy. This is when you feel what another person feels. Their mood affects you. Their sadness touches you. Their excitement energizes you. Cognitive empathy. This is when you understand how another person thinks. You can see their perspective, even if you do not fully agree. Empathic concern. This is when empathy turns into care. You not only understand or feel something, you want to help. Strong relationships need all three. If you only have emotional empathy, you may absorb everyone's feelings and become overwhelmed. If you only have cognitive empathy, you may understand people but remain cold. If you have empathic concern, you can connect with warmth and respond wisely. The power of full presence. Other focus often shows up in small moments. A pause before answering. A shift in someone's tone. A smile that arrives a little too late. A look of confusion that they are trying to hide. A change in energy when a certain topic comes up. These details matter. In a job interview, a negotiation, a friendship, a marriage, a team meeting, or a sales conversation, the person who pays attention has an advantage. Not because they are manipulating others, but because they are actually present. People can feel when you are with them. They can also feel when your body is in the room, but your mind is somewhere else. In a distracted world, presence has become rare. And because it is rare, it has become powerful. A focused listener can make someone feel understood in a way that 100 clever words cannot. So one of the simplest ways to improve your relationships is this. When you are with someone, be with them. Put the phone down. Watch their face. Listen for what is not being said. Ask better questions. Do not rush to fix everything. Let them finish. Attention is one of the purest forms of respect. Outer focus. Seeing the bigger system. The third form of focus is outer focus. This is the ability to understand systems, the larger patterns that shape our world. Most of us are naturally better at noticing immediate events than long-term consequences. We see the traffic jam, but not the urban planning pattern behind it. We see a company's quarterly results, but not the deeper market shift. We see a personal habit, but not the environment that keeps reinforcing it. Outer focus asks us to zoom out. What system is creating this result? What incentives are shaping behavior? What pattern keeps repeating? What are the second-order consequences? What will this decision create 5 or 10 years from now? Goleman explains that the human brain is not naturally built for long-term systems thinking. We are wired to react to immediate threats. If something dangerous appears right now, our body responds quickly with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. But distant threats are harder. Climate change, health decline, financial instability, broken relationships, weak skills, and business disruption often build slowly. Because they do not scream at us today, we ignore them until the consequences become impossible to avoid. Outer focus helps us see what is coming before it becomes a crisis. Why leaders need all three kinds of focus. One of Goleman's most important arguments is that great leadership requires inner, other, and outer focus together. A leader with inner focus knows their values, strengths, weaknesses, and emotional patterns. A leader with other focus understands people, builds trust, listens well, and communicates in a way others can feel. A leader with outer focus sees the bigger picture, notices trends, understands systems, and makes decisions that serve the future. Take away any one of these, and leadership becomes unbalanced. Without inner focus, a leader may be driven by ego, fear, or insecurity. Without other focus, a leader may become disconnected, cold, or blind to the needs of the team. Without outer focus, a leader may win short-term battles while losing the long-term war. Goleman's idea of leadership is not limited to CEOs or politicians. Leadership happens anywhere you influence others. You lead in your family. You lead in your work. You lead through your content. You lead through your habits. You lead through the standards you quietly live by. And the better your focus, the better your influence. The big ethical question. Focus for what? One of the deeper messages of focus is that attention is not only about performance, it is also about responsibility. It is possible to be highly focused on selfish goals. It is possible to use attention only to make more money, gain more status, or win at any cost. It is possible to be productive but not wise. That is why Goleman brings in a broader question. What is your focus serving? A powerful set of questions appears near the end of the book, inspired by the Dalai Lama. Is this just for me or for others? Is it for the benefit of the few or the many? Is it for now or for the future? These questions turn focus into something bigger than productivity. Because the highest form of focus is not just getting more done, it is paying attention to what truly matters. A person can be busy and still waste their life. A company can grow and still damage the world. A leader can win and still leave people worse than before. So the real goal is not simply focus. The real goal is wise focus. Focus on the work that matters. Focus on the people who matter. Focus on the future you are helping create. How to improve your focus in real life. Here are some practical ways to use the lessons from focus immediately. 1. Practice one-pointed attention. Choose one object of focus, such as your breath. Sit quietly. Pay attention to the breath. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back. That is the whole practice. The magic is not in never getting distracted. The magic is in returning. Every return is a mental rep. Every return strengthens attention. Every return teaches your mind that distraction does not have the final word. 2. Create a distraction-poor environment. Do not rely only on willpower. Put your phone in another room. Close unnecessary tabs. Turn off non-essential notifications. Keep your workspace simple. Use full screen mode when writing or working. Set a clear start and stop time. Your environment should make focus easier, not harder. 3. Name your emotional distractions. Sometimes the biggest distraction is not your phone. It is anxiety, anger, shame, fear, or unresolved tension. When that happens, pause and name it. I am feeling anxious. I am feeling defensive. I am avoiding this because it feels hard. I want to escape into something easy. Naming the emotion creates distance, and distance creates choice. 4. Use specific next actions. Vague goals create mental fog. Instead of saying, I need to be productive, say, I will outline the first 3 sections of this script. Instead of saying, I need to fix my life, say, I will clean my desk, write tomorrow's top priority, and sleep before midnight. Focus improves when the next step is clear. 5. Balance deep work with open space. Schedule time for intense focus, but also protect time for walking, thinking, reflecting, and letting your mind breathe. Your brain needs both effort and spaciousness. Deep work helps you execute. Mind wandering helps you connect ideas. Reflection helps you learn from experience. Together, they create intelligent progress. 6. Listen like it matters. In your next conversation, try this simple practice. Give the other person your full attention. No phone, no interrupting, no planning your perfect response while they are still talking. Just listen. You may be surprised how much more you notice. 7. Ask the long-term question. Before making an important decision, ask, what happens if I repeat this choice for 5 years? This question is powerful because most lives are not destroyed or built in one dramatic moment. They are shaped by repeated patterns. A small distraction repeated daily becomes a scattered life. A small act of focus repeated daily becomes mastery. A small act of care repeated daily becomes trust. A small wise decision repeated daily becomes a very different future. Final lessons from focus. Focus is not just a book about paying attention. It is a book about reclaiming your mind. Daniel Goleman shows that attention is the hidden force behind self-control, emotional intelligence, relationships, creativity, mastery, leadership, and long-term impact. The message is simple, but it hits hard. Your life follows your attention. If your attention is constantly pulled by noise, your life becomes noisy. If your attention is trapped in fear, your life becomes smaller. If your attention is scattered across everything, your energy goes nowhere. But if your attention is trained, protected, and aimed at what matters, your life starts to change. You become less reactive. You make better decisions. You listen more deeply. You work with more clarity. You see beyond the immediate moment. You become more intentional about the future you are creating. And the best part is that focus can be trained. Not perfectly, not instantly, not in some dramatic superhero transformation, but slowly, through small choices. One breath, one task, one conversation, one pause before reacting, one decision to return your attention to what matters. That is how focus is built. So here is the challenge from the Lazy Capybaras. Today, choose one thing that deserves your full attention. Not 10 things, not your entire life. Just one thing. Give it your best focus for a small, honest block of time. Then notice how it feels to stop being dragged around by the world and start directing your own mind again. Because in a world fighting for your attention, focus is freedom. And the calmest creature in the room is not the one doing nothing. It is the one who knows exactly what matters and quietly stays with it.